This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook, and I am just beaming right now because I've been waiting for this recap playbook with the incredible Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street. Welcome to the Playbook, my friend.
Good to see you.
The reason I am so excited is, obviously you and I have had a few interactions throughout our lives, and we're evolving. But, having you on my playbook is an accomplishment because I love your philosophy in life. And no matter what happens in your life, personal, professional, you're one of those people I know is a winner. Like if I could bet on you, I would bet on you.
It's a good bet, probably, right?
Yeah, great bet. I want to take back, when you were young, I always felt, even when I had no money and I would be around people super successful, that I had it.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I'm like, oh dude, I have it. Yeah. That guy did it, I can do it. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, so when I was young,
younger.
Really young, yeah, right? Younger, exactly, right? So my friend's dad, great guy, he's passed away, but he had an expression about me, it's just like 12, 13. He goes, if you flush Jordan down a toilet bowl, he'll come up holding a plumber's license. That was it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like, really defines my life in the sense that, the ability to turn lemons into lemonade, bad situations to good. And I think that what he saw in me was a couple of things. One was massive hard work. I was always willing to work hard than everyone around me. That entrepreneurial spirit, a drive to take risks and try things that maybe I would not succeed at and not be scared to fail. But most of all was my ability to influence and persuade. So that came to me very early. And he was a marketing guy, my friend's father. So yeah, it was a pretty funny, it's like been a theme of my life, that whole thing of, always being able to sort of figure out the way, so.
That is awesome. The interesting thing though, there's this intangible, the unconscious competency of frequency that you carry. From the first time I met you in New York when we were younger and stupid.
Really stupid. And really wild.
Yeah, and had a good time, which we both, enjoyed and don't look negatively upon, but you carry a frequency, you light up a room. And you train a lot of people how to sell, how to close. You've done it for a long time in various industries. How do we teach people that frequency though, that unconscious competency?
To essentially light up a room, to have charisma. So, I look at charisma as like a learnable skill. I think the idea, he's got charisma, he doesn't, so he's kind of screwed, right? And I don't think that's true. I think that charisma is a definable skill. It's made up of three things. The first one is the effective use of tonality. So, how you say what you say, so that you sound interesting, you sound enthusiastic, you sound empathetic. You can, essentially, through your tone of voice, people can get the emotions that you are feeling inside and you're trying to portray. The second would be the effective or the appropriate use of body language. In other words, how do you essentially move your body as you speak? And just as important, how do you move your body while you listen? One of the great qualities that all great communicators have is that when they listen to you, in that moment, like Bill Clinton was the master of this, right? In that moment when you enter their magnetic zone, it's like you just get a sense like, the Bill Clinton, like, I care, Tony, I feel your pain, I understand you, right? So you have those first two. So it's number one, the effective use of tonality, two, appropriate body language, both while you're speaking and listening, and number three, which could be the most difficult thing of all, is not saying stupid shit.
Content.
Is what you say. Yeah. When you actually open up your mouth to speak, things that are at least reasonably intelligent come out. Now, ironically, the third can be the most difficult of all. There are certain easy ways to train yourself. Like maybe this applies to dating. Like I'm big, Neil Strauss, right?
Yeah.
So like he went this whole thing of the game, right? His thing. Well, a lot of that stuff is, what you say, how you carry yourself, right? You don't really focus much on tonality there. But when it comes to like in a sales setting, or simply walking in and being perceived as a person that you're worth listening to, well, what is that? Number one, it's how you dress. Part of body language, how you wrap your package, how you groom yourself, are you put together, are you not? The second part really is just that forceful way of that when you communicate, it makes people want to hang on your every word. So if I had said to you, It's that forceful way that you communicate that makes people want to hang. You're done. You're out.
Right, exactly. You've already made me self-conscious listening to you.
Right, but I say, it's a forceful way that you communicate. Here, I lower my. I'm telling you, this urgency. It's important what I'm saying. Now, for me, that's unconscious confidence. I don't have to think about doing this. But for most people, they don't have that. They will, and the irony is, they think they do. See, in their own mind, as they are communicating, their brain is saying, yeah, you portray this emotion, attach this tonality, move your butt. But there's a block somehow. There's a dysfunction in their communication apparatus. The words come out okay, but the accompanying tonality doesn't come out. They think they're almost tone deaf.
Right. They can't hear that
sound
frequency.
good. I'm like, God, you sound like you put me to sleep. Really? Oh, well, let me talk. Let me be excited now. It's a really great thing. I'm like, you still sound like it. No, I'm dead serious.
Right.
And every human being has certain tendencies, natural tendencies. Mine is to speak too quickly. I'm aware of that, so I will consciously slow down my speech when I need to. My default, though, is to speak more quickly, be more animated, use my body a lot, right? Some people are just like, they speak so painfully, slowly, and in monotone. Like, the great example is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Remember the teacher?
Yeah.
Right from that one scene, he's like, Bueller, open up your book now. In 1943, this mutual, and everyone's like, and you watch the kids like, one kid's drooling, the other kid's like she eat the teacher, right? Like, and we laugh at that because we've all been in the presence of someone that was monotonous like that, with monotone tonality and no body language. Yet then we could be in front of someone like myself or you or another great communicator. We're not the only ones, right? That have essentially mastered the art of being interesting and fascinating through tonality and body language. And by the way, it's learnable because what happens is the first step is to become aware, right? Awareness, right? Once you become aware and you're actually in a sales setting to start through sales, right? You want to figure out what you're going to have to say before you say it. You want to essentially script out, not word for word in person, but script out most of the interaction and say, okay, here I want to raise my voice. Here's actually consciously apply tonality and body language. And what happens is your brain will quickly get retrained. Do this for a couple of weeks. It's like you start actually speaking differently. That's how you saw me take all those kids back in the day that could barely walk and chew gum at the same time, right? And they became multimillionaires. How? I essentially rewired their communication platform and taught them how to become master influencers.
That's amazing. The other issue that I have, or thing that intrigues me about you, is your command of fear. Throughout your entire, since I've known you, from the highs to the lows, back to the high again, you have something that I was born with as well. It's just a sense of no fear, but yet people say that about me, and I've been terrified. I'm
full of fear. I just don't want it to stop me. Listen, I think that on some level we talk about things like courage. That's about acting in the face of fear. I'm fucking terrified too. Of course I am. I'm fearful of so many different things, about not succeeding in life, not being perceived the right way, not being significant, all the things that we all human beings feel. And if you're lying if you don't say it, come on, we all know, we all feel them, right? But the question is what do you do about that fear? Are you paralyzed by that fear, or do you step into that fear and just overcome it? Now, there's many different philosophies on how you handle fear. There's some people who say, you dance with your fear, and I've heard that, and my power to those people that can really figure that out. I've never quite cracked that code to be able to really. No, I think it sounds great from a seminar stage. That go dance with your fear is your friend, and but I'm still scared shit, right?
Yeah.
The idea though is to realize, what does it really mean? Like, fear and excitement, they're like two sides of the same coin, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm fearful, but it's really my nervous system telling me that I have to be hyper alert here. This is important. The stakes are higher. Focus your attention here. So I use fear for myself. Like, when I'm really fearful, it just means I got to focus that much more, and I might be miserable. And I will be perfectly honest. I've not always gone through life and been happy. I've gone through life and been very successful financially. I don't get up on stage and say, guys, I'm going to teach you the secret to happiness. That's for the Dalai Lama.
That's me, buddy. That's what I want to do.
I know.
That's really.
And it's wonderful, but I'm not going to be the liar and be disingenuous.
Yeah.
I can show anyone how to make a lot of money. I'm really good at that. I can't always, even in my own life, crack the code of happiness. I one day hopefully will.
Yeah.
But I think that And I just don't want to hold myself out there as that guy because it's not genuine. What I am great at, though, is showing people how to make a lot of money, right? So I focus on what I'm good at, right? So maybe I'll go to the Dalai Lama one day. He'll teach me, you know?
Come to Dave Meltzer, happiness training. Money itself is a motivator for you. It's what you're good at. How do you take money and reconcile it with happiness, right? I'd love to hear your kind of philosophy
so my philosophy is this, right? You know, I've been rich and really, really happy. I've been rich and really, really miserable. I've been poor and really miserable. I have never been poor and happy. I can't be poor and happy. To me, money is a problem that must be solved. In other words, money doesn't make you happy, but if you're happy, what you can do with money is so amazing. It's not like you can, let me tell you, what happens to a lot of people, you wonder why people, even like myself, when I blew up at a very young age, right? When I made all this money and I blew up, I imploded.
I'm with you.
Lindsay Lohan, all these famous people you see all over the world, right?
Yep.
Famous, talented people, they implode after getting rich. Why? Because what happens is that when you emerge from adolescence, and we all emerge with our own wounds and whatever we have insecurities, right? So we have this vision of what we want our life to look like. We say, when I get there, when I arrive, I will be happy. So the fact that I'm not happy right now, I can handle that because I'm taking actions right now that one day will allow me to arrive at happiness. But then what happens when you actually get rich? And all of a sudden you've surpassed all your hopes and dreams for you ever thought your life could be like on a financial level, and you're like, oh shit, wait a second, I still arrived at, and I'm still me, and I still have the same insecurities and fears. The money doesn't solve that. It doesn't make you whole. So at that point, it's almost like the panic sets in, like, oh my God, I thought that if I got rich, I'd feel secure and happy and wonderful and amazing, but I still feel like the same person, just with a lot of money now. You get it?
Yeah.
So, and that's when you start to really, then the drugs start to quiet the critics and the guilt and remorse. And I think a lot of the problems that, at least in my life, were that, you know, I had some insecurities and I got I cracked the code for making money very young, but didn't quite crack the code for being a whole person. Thankfully, I was able to, I'm not saying I'm the most whole person out there, because I'm still not, because I don't think anyone's completely whole, but I think that over the years, I've learned to tame the beast inside of me, the things that drive me to actually into self-defeating activities like instant gratification, cutting any corners, versus sustainable success, giving massive value to people. So I've kind of learned that, you know, I had to re-examine my own value system, and it allowed me to emerge a much more healthy person by failing. So I learned from my own failures and realigned my values, and I've cracked the code now for what I think is sustainable success.
Yeah, and we shared that journey together and separately with the same problems, right? When you said, oh shit, like I had that moment in my life where I literally had everything I dreamed of, and I lied in bed going, oh shit.
I'm still...
And so many people feel that way.
Yeah.
But we both have something of a self-awareness. Even throughout, I mean, even when I was telling you, I got in my first argument in a long time with my wife, and I have such a heightened self-awareness now that I was outside of myself going, shut up, moron, right? Stop talking, you're burying yourself, you're gonna ruin this unbelievable relationship. You're constantly, and you know, from what I've seen, read, true or untrue, you have this great self-awareness where you illuminate the fact that you know you're not whole and you're working on these things. I think teaching people that self-awareness of saying, okay, where am I at? What's going on right now? What am I afraid of? What do I love? You know, how screwed up am I? Can you train that? Because I think it's a great sales tool that you can be self-aware while you're presenting or closing or managing and developing that.
I think that there's an important distinction here, and that is that you have to learn how to become effective even though you're not quite maybe all there emotionally. In other words, I think that what you have to do is that you get to this point where you know, whether it's self-awareness or not, I'm aware of my faults, I'm aware of my frailties, I'm aware of my own self-defeating, let's say the narrative that can creep into my head, right? But I'm not gonna let it stop me from succeeding. I'm not gonna let it slow me down. I'm not gonna let it dictate my actions. So they remain as just thoughts. That's why I say I haven't quite cracked the code for happiness to block out the thoughts. But what I have certainly done and teach others to do is to be able to essentially make a lot of money through business and entrepreneurship and sales and marketing, is essentially crack the code for making money. And I just to be honest, I leave it to people like you and others to focus on things like happiness, or even a Tony Robbins, who I respect, by the way, who does more inner game stuff. That's like more of his message. And I agree with some, I disagree with others, but I know he really tries to do well, he tries to give massive value, right? So there's people like that. I think I was very fortunate that I stumbled upon a way of training people at a very young age how to become really, really effective closers. That's the linchpin skill for making money. It really is you need to be able to essentially get your point across to another human being or group of human beings, whether it's a thought, an idea, a tangible product, to essentially let them understand how much value it has in a way it doesn't piss them off and alienate them, right? And by doing that, it allows you to make lots and lots of money.
Do you think there's in your personal life, because I find this, because I'm born with the innate skill of overselling, back-end selling, manipulating, and lying. I'm a closer, born eagle. Since I was 12, right, I had the same types of comments, except for it was more like, he's either going to be a multimillionaire in jail, interesting things. But you have that innate quantum memory in yourself. But in our personal relationships, we institute what we know. And sometimes I find in my personal relationships that I've hindered, interfered, corroded the relationship because I'm closing instead of caring, if that makes sense. Do you feel that in your personal life,
I think for me,
it can be a challenge?
I think I did that with previous relationships, not so much with the current one. I had a great relationship many years. It ended, which is sad, and that's unfortunate. But I don't think what ended that relationship was was my ability to influence and persuade, pissing someone. I don't think that was it. I think in this case, I think part of it, is really caring too much what other people think about your relationship. I think that, in retrospect, when I look at my relationship and I say, you know what, did I always act because I feel like I should do something because I wanted to do something? Like, in other words, sometimes I think people in relationships, they stand too much on ceremony. They feel like if I give this much, I'll be perceived by others as being a certain way, as weak or being manipulated. And at the end of the day, who gives a shit what anyone else thinks about your life but you, because it's your life, right? And I wouldn't say that's the only reason why this relationship ended, but I think also, there's many different types of people in the world. You have to find someone that's compatible for you, and if they're not compatible, then you have to ask yourself a question. Maybe it's just better to find someone who's compatible. Although I wouldn't say that's what happened here, but maybe that was part of it.
I took the playbook to a personal level on accident. But that's Jordan for you.
Still trying to figure it out myself. Still trying to figure it out. But there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good to it as well. So
last topic most people don't talk to you about, but I deal with it a lot in my life through the ups and downs and, the extraordinary journey that we've taken, but forgiveness has played a huge role in my life, right? Because there's a lot of shit in my background,
right?
A lot of stuff that we've done, and I have found that it is a source of power for me. What role does forgiveness play for you in your life?
I think early on, when I first started this comeback, right? And it was mine was very public, right? Mine is as public as you can get, right? Probably the most public in the world. Seriously.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
The movie is
when you get to millions of people, it's public.
I mean, it's like hundreds. It's like literally everyone has seen the movie 8 times except for people in Iran and North Korea, basically, at this point, right? so here's what it is, right? Better or worse. So
as long as you cast in on it, it's almost worth it.
I got played by Leo. How bad can that be, right?
That's pretty good, yeah.
Now we're making a TV series.
We got Tom Cruise here and Leo DiCaprio.
TV series is coming out too.
Is it?
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing, right?
Are you gonna get a cameo like the real people do all the time?
I'm gonna be very much involved in it. Yeah, very much involved.
Gotta check that out.
But I think in the early years when I started making a lot of money again, I felt like, that I felt some guilt. And I think guilt's a worthless emotion. Remorse is very different. You know, remorse is the active form of it, and I pay back people, and those people already got paid back. There's no one left. No one's getting the money I pay. It just goes into some random fund that gets kept. There's no people. There's no investors. They were rich people. There's no one left, right? The money sits in a fund, right? But I'm past the point of forgiveness. I went way past that. I've done so much good. I have created so much value for people. I've helped so many people in the last 10 years that if there are these cosmic scales or karma scales, I'm going to heaven. I made a lot of mistakes.
I hope to meet you there.
In these last 10 years, boy, I can't think of one person that I've touched that hasn't ended up getting 10 times more value from me than I've ever asked them to return to me in the form of money. So my whole mantra in this journey as of since I got out of jail, right, it's been like, I'm just going to focus on giving massive value to people and monetizing that value. You know?
Yeah,
but my conscience at this point is clear as a bell. I don't owe anybody anything. All right, I'm a good guy, and I didn't have that, by the way. And the reason I'm saying that so forcefully is I didn't feel that way for many years. Shame on me for not.
Yeah.
But I made my amends with it. All right, and I've paid my debt to society if there is such a thing. All right, but you know what? My whole brand and business is about helping people, and every day I get 20, 30 emails from people who say I've changed their life. That's a cool thing.
And even cooler, I hear it all the time. We circle in a lot of similar spheres. And I hear, and it's so nice because I think back when we were young, what morons we were, with good intent though. What I think it's important to say real quickly is, although we both have made mistakes,
didn't start that way.
But really good. I think when you're young, you don't realize the huge impact you can have by overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, right? I feel as if even you with what you were doing, and there was an illegality about what you were doing.
No worse than anyone else is doing on Wall Street.
Right, exactly. Well, that's look at Martha Stewart, right? Let's just make an example. But moreover, I think the intent. A lot of good people do, things that forgiveness, and then they beat themselves up. I have only witnessed over the last decade exactly what you're saying, and I think that there is no redemption. That's just your evolution, and if there's going to be a heaven, I'm hoping that we get to meet up there and have a really good laugh over the journey that we've taken, and the amount of people that you've changed lives overwhelms anybody you ever heard.
Oh my God, like by a million people. And I'll tell you, I'll look at it this way. The mistake I made was I invented a way of training people how to become expert closers. So the damage was magnified. It wasn't just me. I trained 10,000 back in the day, and I didn't give them an ethical underpinning to use that power with it. It was like a little power without responsibility, right?
And the next Batman.
And the Spider-Man, actually, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Right. I was thinking Batman because his superpower is being rich.
Yeah, right. He pays for all it, makes everyone look good, right?
Exactly.
So, so that was I think it's like any powerful weapon. You have an M16, right? So a mother on a farm could have this M16 and 5 guys break out of jail. They come to rape them and the kids. She takes out that's a good for you, good use of the M16.
Yeah.
Or a guy could take an M16, climb a bell tower and start picking off innocent civilians. The weapon is neither good nor bad. It's the intent and how it's used. And I taught them this powerful skill with the straight line system, and I didn't make sure they used it for good. Now I do. So,
and you certainly do. And I want everyone to know that here because that is your playbook to success,
100%.
To provide value, create a void, and allow the universe to fill it with more good. And I certainly appreciate your vulnerability, the illumination that you do for the betterment of people that watch this, because I'm sure there's tons of people at home that are going to watch this go, gosh, I really feel the same way. Thank you, because it's going to change lives. And you've actually impacted my life a lot as well, and I appreciate you as a friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. The amazing Jordan Belfort. Check out the new TV show coming out as well. The original, the real
also
Wolf of
my
Wall
podcast,
Street.
Wolf's Den.
Which I've been on.
He's been on
there.
The Wolf's Den podcast. He was a great guest. It's awesome.
This is the Wolf's Den. Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.